Welcome to our chilling haunted walking tour of Omaha, Nebraska, where history meets the supernatural. Across the country, towns hide places steeped in ghostly lore and paranormal intrigue. In this video, we explore 4 of Omaha's most haunted spots. However, there's a twist. Only 3 of these locations are genuinely haunted. The 4th is a tale crafted by us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. As you join us on this journey, your challenge is to figure out which 3 locations harbor real hauntings and which one is our creation. Stick around until the end of the video where we'll reveal which of Omaha's haunted locations is pure fiction. Today's journey takes us to 4 locations in Omaha: St. Catherine's Hospital, Josyln Castle, the Alpha School, and Central High School. So, if you dare, let's explore the chilling tales behind what Omaha's most haunted places. Our first stop on our Haunted Omaha tour is St. Catherine's Hospital. St. Catherine's has a history tied to eerie ghost stories that have captured the attention of locals and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Though the hospital no longer functions as a hospital, it was once a bustling medical facility, which makes it a prime setting for lingering spirits. Here are some of the ghost stories associated with St. Catherine's Hospital. One of the most persistent legends is about a ghostly nurse who still roams the whole old halls of the hospital. Dressed in a white uniform reminiscent of the early 20th century, this apparition is often seen tending to unseen patients in areas like the former surgical ring and recovery rooms. One chilling report comes from a security guard while making rounds at night spotted a nurse walking down a hallway. The guard called out to her, but when he got closer, she disappeared right into a wall. Some believe this spirit is a nurse who died tragically during a pandemic or in an accident at the hospital, and she continues to care for the sick even in the afterlife. Another common sighting is of a male figure dressed in an old-fashioned doctor's coat, often seen pacing the hallways or entering what was once the operating rooms. He is believed to be the ghost of a doctor who passed away while still practicing at St. Catherine's. A former nurse once claimed she saw this figure entering an operating room and heard the sound of surgical instruments being moved around, but when she entered the room, it was empty. The spirit of this doctor is said to be particularly active in the old surgical suites where strange noises such as the clattering of tools or muffled conversations have been reported long after the hospital has closed. Many believe he is a spirit troubled by a surgery gone wrong, possibly lingering out of guilt or dedication to his profession. Several old patient rooms in St. Catherine's are said to be haunted by the spirit of former patients. One of the most well-known stories involves a man who passed away after a long and painful illness in room 217. Staff members have reported hearing a faint, rasping cough coming from this room, despite it being empty. Some visitors also claim to have seen a shadowing figure sitting on the bed, sometimes groaning or appearing to clutch at their chest as if in pain. And another account involves a young girl who was treated in the hospital during its early years. Her spirit has been seen wandering in the old pediatric ward, often accompanied by the faint sound of giggling or sometimes even mysteriously the rolling of a ball on the floor. Sometimes visitors have reported feeling even a slight tug on their clothes, as though a child is trying to get their attention. Our next stop on our tour of haunted Omaha is the historic Josyln Castle. This is not just a stunning architectural marvel, but also a hub of ghostly legends with tales that weave the Josyln family's presence into a spooky narrative. Many believe the spirits of George and Sarah Josyln, the mansion's original owners, still linger in the home they loved, as well as other mysterious entities. Here are more detailed and specific ghost stories about Josyln Castle. The most famous ghost at Josyln Castle is said to be that of Sarah Josyln herself, the philanthropist and wife of George Josyln. After George died suddenly in 1916, Sarah lived alone in the castle until her own death in 1940. Her attachment to the home was extremely strong as she poured her heart into designing and creating one of the most beautiful spaces in all of Omaha. Visitors and staff often report feeling her presence, especially in areas like the grand staircase and in her what was once her private quarters. One account describes a tour guide who, while closing up for the night, saw a figure resembling Sarah in a Victorian dress standing at the top of the staircase. The guide initially thought it was a visitor left behind, but quickly realized that the figure vanished into thin air. Other visitors have felt a sudden, overwhelming sense of sadness in Sarah's old bedroom, as though they are feeling her grief over the loss of her beloved George. Sarah's ghost is considered protective, watching over the castle to ensure it remains well cared for. Some even say that when renovations are being done on the castle, objects would be mysteriously moved as though Sarah was expressing her opinions on how those changes were being made. And then we have George Josyln's apparition. George Josyln, who amassed a fortune through the distribution of ready print newspapers, was an avid reader and loved his personal library. After his death, stories of his presence in the library have persisted over the years. A former caretaker of the castle recalled a chilling experience where late one night he saw a man in formal attire sitting by the fireplace in the library, seemingly absorbed in a book. The caretaker approached the figure, but it disappeared just as he got close. Others report describing the scent of cigar smoke lingering in the library, a habit George was known for. The smell seems to come and go, even though smoking is no longer allowed in the building. Some visitors also claim to have heard the sound of someone clearing their throat in the library, as if ghostly George is still going about his routine. One of the eeriest phenomena in Josyln Castle is the sound of phantom music that emanates from the old ballroom. The Josylyns were known to host grand events in the early 20th century with live orchestras playing for Omaha's elite. Now, more than a century later, visitors sometimes hear faint strains of classical music or ballroom tunes echoing through the mansion, even when no events are taking place. A group attending a modern event at the castle once reported hearing the music clearly, despite no musicians being present. When they asked the staff about it, they were told that there was no music scheduled at that time. Some speculate that these ghostly sounds could be a lingering memory of extravagant gatherings that once took place during the Josylyns era. And then finally, we have strange encounters in the tower of the castle. Josyln Castle has a tower that offers a spectacular view of Omaha, but it's also said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. There are several stories of strange encounters in the tower. One of the more famous stories comes from a former worker who went to the tower to close it off at night. As they reached the top, they heard what sounded like footsteps following them below. Many believe that believing that another staff member had followed them, they turned around, but no one was there. As they proceeded to descend the stairs, the footsteps continued, matching their own pace as if someone or something was mimicking them. The experience left the workers shaken and they refused to go back into the tower alone after dark. Another haunted location here near the downtown area of Omaha is what was once known as the Alpha School. This building, which once served as an elementary school, has an unsettling history that continues to stir tales of ghostly encounters. Here are some of the most well known ghost stories associated with the Alpha School. One of the most persistent tales from the Alpha School is that of ghostly students who still seem to roam the halls. Teachers and custodians have reported hearing the sound of children laughing, running, even playing, but the building itself has been empty for many, many years. On occasion, witnesses claim to see shadowy figures of children darting through the hallways or peeking out from classrooms, only to vanish when approached. The basement itself of the Alpha School is said to be one of the most active paranormal hotspots in the entire building. Many who have ventured down into this dark, musty space have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as though they are being watched. Cold spots are frequently experienced, and several people have claimed to see shadowy figures lurking in the corners. One chilling story comes from a person who was cleaning up after an event near the basement. She felt a sudden drop in temperature and noticed a dark figure standing near the far wall. When she turned to get a better look, the figure disappeared, but she heard what sounded like footsteps running up the stairs behind her. The Alpha School's history of eerie encounters has made it a notable location for ghost hunters and those interested in the paranormal. Our final stop on our tour of haunted Omaha, Nebraska is Central High School. Central High School is known for its rich history, being one of the oldest high schools in the city. With such a long past, it's no surprise that ghost stories and eerie encounters have become part of its legacy. Here are just a few of the ghost stories associated with Central High School. The first is that of a ghostly janitor. One of the most well-known ghost stories tied to Central High School is about a janitor who supposedly haunts the school's basement. According to legend, this janitor tragically died while working at the school many years ago. Several students and staff have reported seeing a shadowy figure resembling a man in janitor's clothing. He's often spotted near the basement or in darkened hallways, sometimes carrying cleaning supplies or pushing a mop cart. Those who have encountered him report that he disappears suddenly, leaving behind an eerie and strange feeling. People report that this spirit continues to carry out his duties, as unexplained sounds of mopping or cleaning have been heard in the late hours of the night inside the school, especially when areas where there's no one present at the time. Then we have the school's haunted auditorium. The auditorium is another hot spot for ghostly activity. Students who have participated in plays or performances often speak of strange occurrences such as lights flickering without explanation or stage curtains moving on their own. One of the most common stories is about a ghostly figure that can sometimes be seen sitting in the back rows of the auditorium watching the performances. Those who have encountered this figure claim that he appears to be a man dressed in old-fashioned clothing, possibly from the early 20th century. Some believe this spirit is a former teacher or maybe a student who had a deep connection to the school's arts program. This ghostly presence is often felt during rehearsals or after hours when the auditorium is empty, and students have reported hearing phantom applause after performances. The third floor of Central High School is rumored to be particularly active with paranormal phenomena. Many students have claimed to hear footsteps echoing down the hallways when no one else is around. Teachers who have stayed late grading papers or preparing lessons have also reported hearing voices or doors creaking open on their own. One chilling story involves a student who was staying after school for tutoring. She reported hearing faint whispers and felt like someone was watching her from the shadows. When she turned around, she saw a figure dressed in old-fashioned clothing standing at the end of the hallway. The figure disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, but it left her shaken. And then finally, we have the ghost of what may be the former principal of the school. Another popular story centers around a former principal who is said to haunt the halls of Central High. Legend has it that this principal was deeply dedicated to the school and passed away under mysterious circumstances. His ghost is often seen roaming the hallways, especially near the administration offices. Some staff members have reported hearing the faint clicking of shoes on the tiled floors late at night, only to find no one there. Others have claimed to see a figure standing near the principal's office door, disappearing and going through the door when approached. Students and faculty alike have described feelings of being watched, particularly in areas close to where the principal's office once was. Many speculate that he still watches over the school, ensuring the students and staff uphold the standards he once valued. Now that we have seen 4 of the most haunted locations in downtown Omaha, Nebraska, remember you had a challenge before you. 3 of these locations that we just viewed are truly haunted, while 1 is a tale crafted by us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. Sit back and reflect on the 4 haunted locations we showed and see if you can guess which one of these is our creation. Remember, we saw the St. Catherine Hospital, Josyln Castle, the Alpha School, and Central High School. We'll pause here for just a few minutes and let you think about the stories, and if you can guess which 3 are true haunted tales and which one is a story made up by us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. If you guessed the Alpha School, then you are correct. This is a tale totally made up by us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. We hope you've enjoyed this haunted tour of Omaha, Nebraska. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder. Take care and be safe.